welcome to my channel. I'm Gary Wiryawan and today we're going to talk about my current micro four thirds camera as well as what micro four thirds camera that I will buy in the future. Let's go. Before we continue with today's video, if you are a current subscriber of my channel, welcome back. I hope that you will enjoy today's video. And also thank you always for your support for my channel. If you're a new viewer of my channel, also welcome. I hope that you will also enjoy today's video. If you're into photography, camera, lens, micro four thirds, filmmaking, also if you are into music, home recording, guitar, rock metal, that kind of stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel for more contents like that. And now let's continue with today's video. So in today's video, we're going to talk about my micro four thirds camera, the Panasonic G85 as well as the Panasonic GX8. If you are a current subscriber of my channel, you might already notice that I've been using these two cameras for a very long time and I haven't had any new micro four thirds camera at all. You might also notice that these cameras are not exactly new. The Panasonic GX8 was released all the way back from 2015 and the G85 was released in 2016. So they're basically old cameras. Now in this video, I just want to give a little bit of appreciation time for my cameras. They're not exactly new, but I still really love them. I still use them a lot for a lot of different kind of purposes for both of my photography and video needs. The G85 is now currently my primary camera, meaning that I will use my most used lenses on this body. And my GX8 was also one of my primary cameras back then when I haven't had the G85 yet. And my secondary camera was my GX7. Now this is acting as my secondary camera to put miscellaneous kind of lenses such as ultra wide angle lenses or telephoto on this particular body. Speaking about the G85, this is what people call a great hybrid camera, meaning that it can do both still and video really well. It's not the latest and the newest. It doesn't have, ultra slow motion mode or anything like that, but it's pretty solid. I mean, the picture quality and the video quality is really good. It is weather sealed. It has 4K video if I need it, which I don't use a lot. I shoot 1080p most of the time. It has flippy screen. It has microphone input. It has everything that I need to make great picture as well as video. The sensor might be old. This is the same sensor from my older GX7 but without the low pass filter. But the image quality is still pretty solid even until today. And I'm not a professional photography, so I don't do a lot of frame. I just mostly share on my social media and YouTube. But the image quality of both stills and video is just more than good enough for me with this camera. Continuous autofocus during video with the G85 really suffers. It doesn't really do well at all when it comes to continuous autofocus during video. However, single shot autofocus for both video and stills works really well with this camera and it is more than fast enough for most of my needs. This camera performs really well for most of my photography and video needs, for recording YouTube videos like what I'm doing right now, for recording B-rolls or creating short commercial kind of video, for taking picture of landscape, for portraits, for street photography, for general out and about photography. The G85 really delivers. Now here comes the question, what if my G85, this particular G85 suddenly died and I need to buy a new camera? What will I buy? However, before I answer that question, let me say upfront that I really love my G85 and I just don't want it to die anytime soon so that I don't have to replace it, because this is such a great camera and it really suits my need. And also I need to say upfront that I haven't really give my final thoughts about which camera that I should pick to replace the G85 should it die anytime soon. However, there are some alternatives that I want to discuss. First alternative is to buy another G85, the same exact camera. I know, it's an old camera and you might be laughing right now. Well, Gary, why are you stuck in 2016? Look, like there's so many other choices for micro four thirds camera that can replace the G85 that will do better than G85. But I don't know, I just feel something really magical about this camera. I feel really attached to it, and I just feel like another G85 would be a great alternative, alright? However, if I'm not allowed to pick another G85, I think a G95 would be a great choice for me. It's basically an updated G85. It's, not really innovative when it comes to, technological breakthrough or anything like that. However, I think that it will have a newer sensor as well as better slow motion modes for video, and I think I will really benefit from that. And yeah, G95 is one of my choice. Another choice would be a GH5 or a G9. Both of these cameras are really top-notch micro four thirds camera. However, I think that they're a little bit too big and too heavy for my needs. As you know, if you're a subscriber of my channel, I prefer anything to be small, lightweight, easy to carry around, and just, capable enough for most of my needs. And G85 really hits that sweet spot when it comes to size and weight and performance ratio. So yeah, I will be a little bit hesitant when it comes to GH5 or G9. Another great option would be from Olympus, either an EM1 Mark III or EM5 Mark III or something like that. Olympus has been always making great cameras for micro four thirds, and I really think that I will also benefit from using Olympus micro four thirds camera. However, when I'm switching to Olympus, it means that I will also need to learn about their interface. I'm very accustomed and familiar with the interface of the Panasonic cameras, especially the micro four thirds cameras, because I just know where things are, I know what the buttons do, and I can just close my eyes and operate the camera, and I can go to any settings that I want easily. I don't know about that with Olympus, but maybe there will be some learning curve. However, it is a good option in my opinion to go to Olympus route. Plus, when you're using Olympus cameras, you'll be guaranteed to have the best image stabilizer in body. So yeah, that's a great benefit for me, especially if I'm using lenses that doesn't really have a built-in stabilizer in the lens. Now let's talk a little bit about my GX8. As I mentioned earlier, now my GX8 is my secondary body with the G85 performing as my primary camera body. But a few years ago, before I had the G85, this was my primary camera. This particular GX8 has been with me traveling all around the world. I chose micro four thirds camera because I really love travel photography. I go to a lot of different places in the world, and this camera, this particular one in my hand, has been with me to a lot of different countries, from Japan, New Zealand, United States, Canada, Svalbard, Norway, all those kind of places, and it's been performing really great. Now, if you compare the GX8 with the G85, you will find a few differences that will dictate significantly how you use the camera. Now, the G85 is what they call hybrid camera, which does still and video both really well. When it comes to the GX8, this is a little bit more photocentric rather than being a video camera. At that time, the Panasonic GH4 was the de facto of video camera. This is kind of like a GH4 but for still photography, if you understand what I mean. Sure, you can record video with this camera, and I mean it produces a really beautiful looking footage with this camera, and it even has the mic input, although you have to use adapter with it because it's a 2.5mm audio input. However, I really think that the video capabilities are a little bit limited in the GX8 when compared to the G85. However, when it comes to still photography, the GX8 is a little bit better when compared to the G85. If you are a follower of my channel, you might already know that I sometimes use a technique called strobist photography, which means I'm using off-camera flash to lit my subject, especially for portrait when it comes to travel photography. And this camera has better shutter sync speed compared to the G85. This is slightly faster, meaning that I can use my flash without having to slow down the shutter speed too much and still get the perfectly exposed ambient background. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the way I use my GX8 now is as my secondary body, meaning that I will put miscellaneous kind of lenses into this body, such as ultra wide angle lens or telephoto lenses or something like that. And that leads us to the question, hey Gary, why do you need two camera bodies? Why you can just use one camera body and have a flexible lens instead? Well, the answer is I like to have two camera bodies so that I can have multiple focal lengths ready at the same time. For example, I will use a super zoom lens on the G85 like the Panasonic 14 to 140 so that I can cover wide angle to telephoto. However, I will also put an ultra wide angle lens on my GX8 such as this Laowa 7.5mm so that I can also have ultra wide angle ready while I can also cover wide angle to ultra telephoto using other bodies. You know what I mean. Having two focal lengths is really great because if you're traveling, if you want to capture the moment and you don't have a lot of time and you still have to change lenses to cover the focal lengths, the moment might already be gone and you'll not be able to capture it or recreate it again, and that's always a shame. Now back to the GX8. Now let's ask the question that we asked before. So if the GX8 died and you have to replace it, what will you choose? Now with that question, the answer for the GX8 is a little bit more interesting when compared to the G85. The G85 is still a relevant camera today. I think it still holds up pretty well when it comes to the features and usability. However, with the GX8, it's not the same story. The GX8 starts to feel a little bit old, and I mean that, newer cameras might benefit me more. So yeah, because this is a secondary body, I don't really need it to be as large as the GX8. I can go a little bit smaller, but I still want some form of in-body stabilization. I still want a little bit of the features that I found from the GX8, and I don't want to compromise too much. And there are some cameras that comes up to my mind. One of those cameras is the Panasonic GX85. It's a little bit of a downgrade, if you understand what I mean. When you choose the GX85 compared to the GX8, it's a little bit of a downgrade. However, I think the GX85 will benefit me a little bit from having a little bit of a smaller body, a better image stabilizer in body, although I'm sacrificing a little bit of the strobist capabilities because the shutter sync speed is not as fast as the GX8, and the sensor is more or less the same like the sensor on the G85. However, since the GX85 will only be a secondary body, I don't really think that it will be too much of a compromise for me anyway. I can still live with the compromises and just gladly accept GX85 as the replacement to my GX8. Another great option will be from Olympus, especially their EPL series, the Pan series. I once owned an Olympus EPL6 and it was really a great camera. It is almost like a GX85 in a way, but a little bit smaller. But as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to Olympus, I have to relearn their interface so that I can better understand the functionalities of the camera and be able to operate them without guessing too much. Now, some of you might ask, hey Gary, why don't you consider the G100 as a secondary body replacement? Well, yes, the G100 I'm sure is a great camera. However, it lacks one thing that in my opinion is a deal breaker, and that is the mechanical in-body image stabilizer. The G100 uses electronic stabilizer, which works really well in video. However, I don't think it works on still photography. On my Panasonic GX8, it has mechanical in-body image stabilizer, just like the G85. And although it doesn't really work on video, it works well on still photography, and it is rather efficient. And I can use non-stabilized lenses like this Laowa 7.5mm, which doesn't have in-lens stabilizer, and have it stabilized on my GX8. On G100, I don't think it's possible. Another good option I think is the Olympus OMD EM10 series. I think they look great. I think they have good features, and I think that I will enjoy shooting with them. They look fantastic as well, like old vintage cameras. However, in my opinion, after I see them in person, I don't think they are small enough in my opinion, and I still prefer the rangefinder form factor like the GX8, GX85 or the Olympus EPL. I can even just let go of the EVF and shoot just with the LCD for my secondary body. So I think that the EM10 series is a little bit too big for me. And now it's time for the ultimate question. Hey Gary, will you switch from Micro Four Thirds to other camera formats? And the answer to that question is I don't know. So in the long term, it's a possibility that I will switch from Micro Four Thirds to other formats if Panasonic and Olympus or OM digital solution no longer works on Micro Four Thirds format. However, for the short-term future, at least for the next 1 year or 2 years, I will still stay with Micro Four Thirds. They are still available and they're still easy enough to find. I can still buy lenses for them. They're still supported by Panasonic and OM digital solution, and they still fit my needs really well. They still do really well, especially for travel photography and for making YouTube videos like right now, and even for a little bit of commercial project and just general hobby, everyday kind of photography and video needs. Micro Four Thirds still do really well in my opinion. And I really hate to say goodbye to my Micro Four Thirds cameras because they've been performing really well. So now I just want to keep them for as long as I can. And that wraps up today's video. So that is all for today's video. I hope that you find this video to be useful and entertaining. Please comment down below and share with me what are your current cameras that you are using right now and what cameras you will consider to buy in the near future. Also, if you have any question about this video, feel free to comment down below and I will try my best to answer all of them. Also, don't forget to support my small channel by liking this video, sharing this video and subscribing to my channel down below. It will help me a ton to motivate me to keep making these videos for you. Thank you and goodbye.